Hi, I'm Heather from booktubes, and today is Protective Heroes. This is one of my favorite ways for a character to be. I just personally think that if you have care for somebody and you love them and you care about them, you would want to protect them from the horrible things in life, whether that is your spouse, a significant other, a friend, a child. It doesn't really matter. I feel like decent people kind of want to protect their loved ones from as much as they can. And I particularly like it when a hero does have very protective tendencies toward the heroine, even if they're not a couple yet, or if it comes in after they have so much love for them, and that's when the protectiveness kicks in. Doesn't really matter, but I do just enjoy seeing it as a love language, if that makes sense, in my books, because it makes me feel like these people really care about each other. Because this is something that I love, I do tend to like it a lot in alphas, because alphas can be rolling forward and running over people, not take the care that maybe they should. So I like when it does show in protective ways. But I would say that some of these are alphas and some of them aren't, but they all are very protective, and they're protective right from the beginning, I would say. But I'm also excited because these are all kind of more recent reads. So if you just kind of watch my recommendation videos, you probably haven't heard me talk about these yet. The first one is a double, a 2-for-1, and it is Green-Eyed Monster by Elsie Winters and Leviathan Song by Elsie Winters. So these take place in the same world. The main character of the second book is introduced as a side character in the first book, and the first book is only like 50 pages. It's a novella, and I loved it. So we have kind of a fantasy paranormal type world mixed in with contemporary. So we have an orc who is going to university. He's wearing a button-up shirt and glasses. He has caps on his tusks, and he is such a cinnamon roll. But also, orcs are very possessive and jealous by nature. Something's going on, and he runs to see what's happening, and this little elf is creating mayhem, and so he gets out of the way, and then he sees another, I think it's an elf or a fairy, and she's about to be crushed, and he rescues her, and it is their quick little romance, and it is adorable. So literally the second he sees her, he's protecting her and saving her from a wall crushing her. And then in Leviathan Song, you have a male siren who his greatest fear in life is to be bonded and his bondmate leave him, because sirens can do this bond, and usually it's one-sided because the mermaids want a sailor basically to have their child with, but then they leave the child to be reared by the father, and then they leave. But because he's a male siren, he's kind of affected both ways, it seems like. So he's very standoffish, and she is a elf who is the one who was creating mayhem in the first book. And she is a golem maker, and she's also really good with amulets and protective jewelry and things like that. And they're kind of insta-love, kind of slow burn. Basically, they're attracted to each other right away, but he's very much trying not to touch her or be involved in any way that would make the bond permanent without knowing if he wants that. And she's very respectful of that with him, but is also feeling, emotions for him and wants to be with him. They kind of have a faraway oceanic war coming to their doorstep, and that some of the people there want her to make a golem, and she's like, no. And it's her kind of working her way around that with his support and protection. She's like under 5 feet tall, or barely 5 feet tall, so, and she doesn't have a combative magic, so she is at risk a lot, and people are coming after her, and he's very protective of her. Then I have Charge, which is Steelbone's Motorcycle #1 by Cate C. Wells. Cate C. Wells is the author of Run Posey Run, which I read for the Dark Romance Readathon and loved. That is a literal psychopath in a mafia standalone. This is a motorcycle club series, and he is kind of feeling down about himself because his longtime girlfriend left him, and she's a very put-together lawyer with a sharp tongue, and a young single mom moves in next door to his dad's house, and he is very attracted to her, but as soon as he sees that she has a son, he's like backing off. And she's only like 21 or 22 and has a 6-year-old son. And content warning for rape. Her son is a product of rape at a party in high school, and her family didn't believe her and were completely awful to her and tried to take custody of her son, and did take custody of her son, and she has him back. But her family is really horrible, just toxic and the worst. He is very attracted to her, and he really actually has a bond with her son. It's not that he's resentful of him, he just feels like he doesn't have it together enough to offer anything to a single mom. But he's so protective. He like is fixing her car right away and helping her carry stuff and trying to keep her safe, and he's kind of mad at her and puts her off because she is so trusting when she shouldn't be, and in his mind he's just thinking of all the people that would take advantage. And they're really sweet together, even though there's a lot of motorcycle club and family drama. Next I have Evil Twin by Kate Wilde. I love this fantasy romance novella. So we have the younger twin of a king, and because he's the younger twin, he cannot rule, and he's the general. He's beloved by the people, and his brother, the king, is a twerp. But he's never going to be able to rule there. He promised his parents that he wouldn't kill his brother, and he doesn't want to be under his brother's orders for forever, so he has a plan. And his plan is to seduce his brother's bride, have the royal family walk in on him with her, and when they see that she's no longer a virgin, his brother won't want her because his brother was the one that took the virginity, and he will then get to rule the princess's kingdom. That's his plan. It works perfectly, and we get to follow them as they don't really trust each other, but also feel very affectionate for each other. And he is so protective. He's protective of her feelings and emotions. He's protective of the way people speak to her. He's physically protective, trying to save her from magical beings and sorcerer. And this is a really funny, really sweet fantasy romance with a lot of great twists. Everything that I absolutely love about it, I can't really tell you, but I was entertained from beginning to end. Absolutely adored it. Then I have Skin by Aveda. This is a paranormal, kinky, it's kind of erotic. It doesn't have a happily ever after, but we are going to get a full-length-ish book of these characters where they do get their happily ever after. So we have our gargoyle, who is kind of a bodyguard and partner in investigation with a banshee. And the banshee, when she touches things, she is connected to them forever. And it's not a huge deal when it is items, although it's still very difficult on her, and she can tell everything that's ever happened around that item. But when she connects to any other living being, they are overwhelming and they last with her connection forever, and she's like slowly losing her sanity because there's too much going on, and also it takes a physical toll on her, and there's just a lot that has to do with her power and kind of the price she pays for it. So they have been work partners for around 4 years, and something goes wrong and they accidentally touch skin to skin for the first time. And she is able to see all of his emotions and everything, although he's really good at tamping it down. But underneath everything, she does find a little thread of desire for her. And so she talks to him about it, and she's like, I can't sleep with anybody. And I really want to. I don't want to go back to any of my exes, but now I have this connection with you, and I know that you want me too. Maybe we could make this work. And he's so protective. First of all, it's like his entire job is to protect her. But he also gets really frustrated with her anytime she puts herself in unnecessary risk. And he's so protective, and there's praise kink, and there's him just like being protective of her in the bedroom, out of the bedroom, at work, outside of work, and I loved it. I can't wait for their full length book. Like, I'm so excited. Then lastly, I have That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon, which is Mead Mishaps #1 by Kimberly Lemming. This is a pretty diverse fantasy romance. In fact, the author said she had trouble finding diverse fantasy romance, so she wrote it herself. That was pretty good for a debut. Some of the humor wasn't quite my thing, but a lot of it I did find funny. And we have a cinnamon farmer human who is drunk, and she stumbles across a demon, and demons are supposed to not be sentient, and they are protected by their goddess, and they're not supposed to be in that realm. And the demon tries to attack her, and she escapes him and gets home. And then the demon shows up at her house the next day and is like, hey, sorry about that. You're gonna help me on this quest or I'm gonna kill your whole family. This does have loss of a sibling. It happens off page before the book starts, but that is something that has really affected the main character, and she doesn't want to go on any adventures because that's what got her sister killed, and she kind of blames herself for it as well. You have this super protective demon who they're like traveling in the swamp, and he'll like act like there's something scary behind her just so she'll come over and like cuddle with him. It's so cute. And he's like very protective. He will burn down the world, actively does try and burn down a good portion of the world for her because she got hurt. And it's so cute. They do go to a city where the demons are enslaved and they think that they aren't people, treat them horribly. So you might want to be aware of that if that's not something that you want to read. But it was so cute. And sweet and entertaining. I loved the quest that they went on. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's not super long, it's under a couple hundred pages, and I think it's worth your time. That's it. Some recent reads with protective heroes. A lot of them are kind of cinnamon rolly, some are alpha, but they all are protective of the main character literally right from the get-go, I think. Although sometimes they push the main character away in the hopes of saving themselves heartbreak or the main character heartbreak. But very protective, very sweet. Highly recommend all of these. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!